Hey champions, welcome back. It is Wednesday. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We're halfway through the week. It's been a crazy week. A lot of things have been accomplished, but a lot of things are more behind the scenes. Not so much stuff that are being forward facing. However, I do think some of that stuff's going to be coming soon, so I'm really excited about sharing some information probably next week about what's happening with the championship, what's happening with Origins, what's happening with the company as a whole. So I hope you're really excited to hear all that. In the meanwhile, last night we had our live stream. We did Exploring the Libraries. It was a weird chat, in my opinion. Alex was like, no, it went fine. But in my opinion, I was like, it could have gone better. We should have planned a little bit better. We had a topic. It was actually something pitched by the community, which is a conversation about tribal cards. Our conversation diverged in multiple different directions. At the end of the day, there isn't a whole lot to say about the tribal cards. Genesis, there's a lot about Genesis that is very unique, that is different than anything I've played before in the past. So my knowledge from other TCGs doesn't always translate over. And that may seem like a weird thing to say because I made Genesis, so shouldn't I know the ins and outs of it? But no, there are a lot of nuances that I'm learning as players are interacting with the product. It's a living organism in its own way, and as new players start playing the game, learning about it, and changing it, I have to adapt. The game design team has to adapt for it. So it's a whole other conversation. However, at the end of the day, tribal cards, we tried them. I don't see us doing them again in the future, but if the time is right and the mechanics make sense and the flavor makes sense, then yeah, we'll bring them back. We'll do what's right for the game at the end of the day. But I think right now, what's right for the game is that we take those tribal cards and push them aside a little bit. All right, so that was our live stream. We tried to do a live stream with Kitchen Table TCG to teach him how to play, teach Louis how to play the game, give a good analysis of the game to the community. It seemed like there was a fair number of people who were watching that live stream. However, Steam was going through maintenance and Tabletop Simulator wasn't working, so we couldn't actually sit down to play, and it was a huge pain. We tried vamping, we tried just talking about stuff. I actually got to hear how Louis got into the whole TCG space, and it's a great story. I thought it was hilarious, and I related to it quite a bit. So I'm really grateful to have that opportunity. Besides that, I know that some more content is going to be coming out soon from other content creators. Just waiting for that to hit. I know. While we wait, let's talk. I do have that topic, ongoing topic about ethical game design. And I think we talked about it quite a bit in yesterday's live stream, and that's booster pack design. This is something I don't think as a community member I spent a lot of time thinking about until I got to the point where I was asking people to hand over their hard-earned cash for my product, and I had to think about how do I make sure that their dollar spent is always worth it. And this is something that came up over and over again in last night's live stream, which is dollar spent. I want to make sure that when you buy a booster pack, you're getting the most bang for your buck. So this is one thing. I don't know if enough games think about it. If they think about there is this whole entire concept, I know, in the secondary market, and I'm sure the game designers think about this, which is the expected value of your booster pack, which is a very important thing, but that correlates directly into the secondary market. As cards are price pointed, then you could talk about, okay, this pack, I put in $5 and I got $4 out of it. But as a game designer, we can't take the secondary market in mind. We shouldn't be designing cards to create a variable amount of value inside the booster packs because, in my opinion at least, once you start doing that, you start creating, it becomes a sense of gambling. So you got to make sure that however you're evaluating things, it becomes fair across packs. And it's definitely an interesting system to think about on a lot of different levels. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to make sure is that when you buy booster pack, you're walking away with about 50%, over 50% of usable cards. And that's the most important part to me, is that when it comes to playable pieces that you walk away with every time you open a pack, whichever champion you're playing with, you have about you're taking away about 50% of the product. And that's pretty good, like being able to have a product that you use 50% of all the time. I mean, how many times have you lost a pencil before you got over 50% usage, or a pen, or there's a bunch of other products, right, that are the same way. So these are the things I'm thinking about when it comes to pack design. This is why I'm not a huge fan of higher rarity levels that are functionally unique. Now, I get that for other games this makes sense, and for players this may make sense. It's just not a philosophy I am comfortable with, but that's a whole other topic for another day as we kind of get into it. And we could talk about how and why I think epics are ethical or unethical, and why I think foils are, and where is the balance between all these things. All right, before this video gets too long, let's jump into our spotlight card. So let's talk about Yamaraja. Definitely an interesting card. I'm really excited to be covering this one because it's very unique in its space. So this is a Ichi summon for Axon Chaos only, which is the Sahas tribe. You can only play this with Rain, Kendra, or Core. It has a base health of 6. You could only play Yamaraja's Resurrect ability if another summon has been killed this round. So that references the Resurrect Beckon ability that Yamaraja has. Action, Resurrect Beckon, 3 health and 11 aura. You place Yamaraja on a spot where a summon has been killed this round, facing the same direction as you, and then you exert it. It has Death Touch, so when it enters the arena, it kills a summon around it with remaining health 3 or less. And then Knowledge Assimilation. Whenever a summon around Yamaraja is killed, send it to its owner's subconscious. Yamaraja gains all abilities and awareness of that summon. Card artwork is done by Philip, and card was created by Lionel. So let's take a look at that artwork on its own. It's a really wonderful piece in a lot of ways. So one, you'll notice that the actual art on the card is much more zoomed in. I want to show you Yamaraja itself. So on a zoom out version, you see a lot more of the Sahas arena. It's actually very gorgeous in a lot of ways. So Philip did a great job about that. Now, what's happening in this piece? You may not be able to put all the pieces, all the little notes together. But what's happening here is on the floor, you have an angel that doesn't have its wings and doesn't have its weapon, and Yamaraja is assimilating those attributes into itself. So it's gaining flight and aerial from the wings. It's getting that base 6 attack from the weapons. The idea here was the ultimate play for Yamaraja is to steal is to become the angel, knock out the angel, become the angel, and then start knocking out other summons and becoming more advantageous as the game goes on. So that's the artwork here. This card was originally printed in Raise. Not a whole lot changed. We did add the reminder text for Resurrect Beckon because I realized that even advanced players coming into this game may not know too much about Resurrect Beckon because it's not an ability that was used a whole lot. And so asking players to remember these key abilities is really difficult. This is why if you were to go back and look at the epic version of Yamaraja from J2, you'll see that it also has a reminder text for all these key abilities. Epics in J2 were really interesting to design because we had to now find a balance. As the game grew, we worked really hard to try to find a balance for new players and veteran players. And veteran players definitely will rather see a lot more art. However, as a new player opening up a pack, especially in the middle of the draft, the less information on the card, the more difficult it is to actually play with it and make a decision on what to draft in the pack. Last thing you want is for a player to be drafting your set, see an epic version of Bolt Shot, and it doesn't have any text on it at all, like the Welcome to JLR versions did, and then pass it up because they think, one, it's either a token, or two, I don't know what this card is. I don't want to spend time learning it, so I'm going to ignore it. And then they pass the card up. And that could have really changed things in a draft for them, especially if they're a new player. So when it came to epics at the end of the day, we had to decide for all abilities that are not standardized, add the reminder text to them. So that includes Resurrect Beckon, because Resurrect Beckon is different than standard beckon. So standard beckon always functions the same. Standard attacks always function the same. So those abilities do not have the reminder text in the epic forms. So where does this card rest? So what deck is best designed for it? And what does the future of this card look like? As of right now, I've seen a lot of people attempt it. I think at the end of the day, it's a great casual card. It's a great multiplayer card. And it's a really fun card to build a deck around. I haven't seen it stabilize on a competitive format, but when we're talking about competitive, just because a card doesn't stabilize on the competitive format doesn't mean it doesn't have a home. Competitive players are usually trying to find consistency, trying to find their edge in gameplay and aggression, and then they're also trying to find a move that is safe. They're going to play with a strategy that they know will function comfortably game after game. And that goes back to the consistency. But there's something comfortable about playing Bull Shot because you know it'll do what it does every single time and you know how to play with. The learning curve and the nuance to it isn't as extreme as a card like Yamaraja. But if you want to test your prowess in the game and show how good of a player you are, look into playing Yamaraja. Build a deck around it. See what interesting techniques you can do, interesting strategies you can do, what cards function with it really well. I would love to see you assimilate something like a Fearmonger onto something like, with Fearmonger with Zamber Dragon. Combining those two, you get a really intense awareness, you get a really decent attack, a lot of evasion, and then on top of that, you can shut down entire sections of the board. Summons cannot play attack abilities and Fearmonger's awareness. So Yamaraja gains all those abilities. And then what else would be fun combinations? I mean, what's this called? The spirit. Why am I blanking on this? Malevolent Spirit. That's what it is. So that would be a really fun card to see how you could take that and expand its awareness or expand Yamaraja's speed and tempo to be able to do a lot more things. Now, this card will expand and grow as new cards come out. As the card pool starts getting better and better, you'll have opportunities to make really unique, really interesting deck patterns with Yamaraja. So does this card have a home right now? There is for the players who want to do something that's a little bit more experimental and just have fun with it. But in the future, I could definitely see a home for this card. I could definitely see champions who take this card and push it. One of the biggest issues has always been the fact that the Sahas champions have so many cards that cost health because that's an attribute of chaos. However, they don't have a lot of health to begin with. So that is definitely one of the things that holds this card back. You won't be able to play this with Reign of Kendra as comfortably as you could with Core, but as more champions come out with these affiliation combinations, with more health, I could definitely see the card pool starting to open up and the possible combinations open up even further. So that's everything I have to say about Yamaraja. I'd love to hear your opinion. Is this a card you've tried out? What are your opinions on it? How would you like to see it play? What is your deck build around it? If you can make a video showing me your deck build, that'd be even more amazing. But push yourself when it comes to creativity with this card, because I think there's a lot of opportunities to do some really, really cool gameplay strategies with it. That's everything I have to talk about today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Bye.